everyone. Today we're going to look at UV unwrapping. I had a viewer request this tutorial. This is just going to be a quick tutorial. It's going to cover most of the basics, but I have a few shapes here that we're going to try and unwrap, and hopefully we can do this pretty quickly. The first object we have here to unwrap is the cube. So we're going to hit period and focus in on the box. We're going to go to edit mode and we're going to go to UV editing. Now when you first get here, it's going to have a simple unwrap, or if you just go to hit unwrap and hit this first one, you'll get a box type thing or square type thing. And this can be useful for unwraps where every texture on the cube is going to be exactly the same. So this would not be a terrible unwrap, but generally you want an unwrap that kind of unwraps something 2D, 3D into something that's 2D. So a box unwrap, and for something like this, we could go to, once we're here, we can go to follow active quads, and we're going to get a T unwrap like this, which would be a normal unwrap for a box. And now we can scale this so it fits into this box area, because this area is the area that you're going to unwrap all your things into, because you're going to make a UV layout that you're going to export. So you want to fit this into your box and fill up as much space as possible. And then you would take this layout and export this layout. It'll export into a PNG, and then you can use it as your layout for how you want to make your texture. So this is why unwrapping is important, because the unwrapping can dictate how you do your texturing on your object. So that's your basic cube. There are many more options that you can look at. Not all of them all that useful, but Blender has a lot of really quick unwraps that you can do that are automatic. This is not a terrible unwrap for a cube. Project from view is whatever view you're looking at. So if I turn this around and I go project from view, it's whatever your view is, which can be useful for certain things. But we want something more like a T unwrap for this cube. Here, reset, and then, so just like that. So there's your cube, and then we'll go on to the cylinder here, and we'll focus in on this one. So a cylinder. The cylinder also has a pretty easy automatic unwrap. So we want to go into edit mode and unwrap. Let's just see what this looks like. So it takes this top sphere, puts it there, and then each one of the sides fills up that panel, which, you know, is not a terrible unwrap depending on what you're going to do with it. But for something like a cylinder, we want something more usable. So maybe a cylinder projection, not all that great. Let's do a smart unwrap. So that's not too bad there. So we have the top and the bottom and the sides here, but it's kind of wonky. So maybe we can follow quads. And right there we have pretty much a perfect unwrap for a cylinder. And then of course we would scale it into this box here and export it. And pretty much every shape is a cube, a cylinder, a sphere. So we'll go on to a sphere next. Sphere can be a little bit tricky. I kind of do it my own way. And with this, we're going to use, we're going to mark seams for this. So if we do a normal unwrap for this, this is not going to be very useful for anyone. We can do all kinds of different projections, cylinder projection. This can be okay. Even better probably would be a sphere projection. So this would be a workable projection, especially let's say you had a face like these faces here, you wanted to put an image on, so this would work pretty good. And there are lots of different ways to do a sphere, but what I generally like to do is I like to mark a sphere with seams. So here's the first one that we're going to do with seams, and I'm going to make sure this isn't see-through. I'm going to hit Control 7. So I want to hit the bottom. You might have to hit 5, 2, and so I'm looking right at the bottom of the sphere. I want to use edges, and I'm going to start selecting edges here. So I'm going to hit Shift, and I'm going to basically select a T in the bottom here, and then I'm going to extend all these out. So I'm going to select all these edges, to make this kind of plus sign at the bottom, and then I might want to extend these up just like this, so all of the lines are at the same point. And then I'll hit Mark Seam right here, Mark Seam, and that will make all of your seams kind of a reddish color now. Okay, so now if I select the whole sphere and I would do just a normal unwrap, I get something like this. Now this is totally usable, especially if, let's say I was going to put an image here at the top of this, then that image would go there. So let's say if I was going to put an image here on this face, so this, I would make this point the top, and I would unwrap everything else from behind in this, that kind of T style. So that's generally how I do sphere unwraps. So the last one we have here is the hat, and this is going to be a little bit more complex, and of course we're going to use seams with this. Now a hat is a more organic object, so it's going to be similar. You're going to unwrap this similar to how you would unwrap an avatar or anything like that. Okay, so I've already unwrapped this a few times now, but I've reset it, and I kind of have an idea of how I want to unwrap it, because like I said earlier, your unwrap can determine how you do your texturing. It can make it better, it could make it harder. So I have an idea of what I want to do with this, so I'm going to start marking seams. So I know this top part, I'm going to, this lip of the hat, I want to have its own unwrap, so I'm going to mark this seam here. Oops. What did I hit here? There we go. So that's it, and I can mark that seam. And I know that I think I want a seam that goes around the bottom. So I'm going to mark this. Oops. Oops. Dang it. There we go. So mark this seam. And hit mark seam. And then I think I have seams. I want seams to come up here. And there. And then this side. Here we go. Mark that seam. And underneath we have a seam here. I think right there. Is that where I want it? Yes. So there. And then across here. Oops. And how else are we going to do this? Here and here. I think that is how I want it. So mark that seam. I think I want a seam at the back of the hat too, because most hats are kind of sectioned off into sections and then sewed together. So I think I want a seam here, and I think here. So let's mark that seam. So that's most of the seams I want for the hat. And let's not forget about this top button. But I can't really see where I want to make the seams, because normally, even though I have all of these seams visible, if I were doing like an avatar or something like that, I would want to try and hide all the seams that I can. So with this button, I'm going to hide all the seams underneath it. But the only way I can get to those vertices, those edges, is to get rid of the hat. So I'm going to select an edge on the hat, and I'm going to hit plus until I select the whole hat, and I'm going to hit H and hide the hat. So now I can look just at this little button, and just like I unwrap that sphere, I'm going to make a little T unwrap here. So here we have our little T, and we'll extend these to the edge. All these, and here, and here. Okay, now we can mark our seam there. Now we can unhide the hat. And then we can select everything and unwrap. So now we get a pretty good unwrap of the hat. And now we just need to position things in the layout to maximize our resolution. Now I'll show you how I might adjust this layout, because the main goal is to try and maximize the layout so you don't have any open spaces. There's a lot of open space here. And the reason for this is because you only have so much resolution, and you want the best resolution that you can get for your object. Okay, so at the bottom here, if you hover over this, it'll say keep UV in edit mode, mesh selection in sync, meaning these two windows are in sync. If I select a part over here, or if I click that and I select a part over here, you can see where these edges are in your layout. Okay, but I don't want that. I want to select this, and I want to hit islands. Okay, and I want to select all in this window so I can see all of the mapping here. So I want to select islands, and I can select each one of these islands individually. So now let's work on this layout a little. I'm going to rotate this. And I'm going to put some of these off to the side. I'm going to bring this one over here. I'm going to bring this one over here. And these will go off to the side here. And I'm going to select all. I'm going to scale it and position this so that this section fits in here. So scale it down a little bit, move it, and that's about right. And now I can start bringing some of these over. So I can rotate this, fit down here, put this over here. I can rotate this around, put that there, rotate this around, there, and then rotate this. So right there, I probably could maximize this a little bit better, but that's a quick look at how you can adjust things. And from here I can select all and kind of scale this up and adjust these so I'm getting the most area possible. Now there are a few other features and a few other things I want to show you real quick. And I encourage people to play around with all of these tools, try things out. I don't know everything in the program, that's for sure. One of the features is minimize stretching. So this can be kind of neat. Once you hit that, now you have you can use plus and minus to make the stretching greater or less. So this can be handy, even though in this one I don't have a whole lot of stretching in it. And then you just right click, left click to select whatever you have. And I'm gonna undo all that. Oops. Let's do that. And then another thing you can do is average island scale. So let's say that I was messing around with the UV mapping and I accidentally scaled something, but I didn't scale everything else. Okay, now this could be a problem with resolution if you could have more resolution here and less resolution on everything else, which might make your model look weird. So what you can do is if you select all, then you can go to UV and average island scale. So this will average everything to a certain scale. So that everything is going to have the same resolution. Now, of course, I don't need that and I don't want it. So let's go back. And the last thing I want to show is how you can check your stretching. So I'm going to add a new image, and I'm not going to use the blank. I'm going to use the UV grid, and I'm going to hit select there. And now I get a grid that'll show me, I can see it on my hat if I go to Object, I hit N, and I hit Texture Solid. Now I can look at that hat and see if I have any major stretching going on, which I really do not. And for the last step, I'm going to show how to bake a texture. Now, baking is not part of the UV unwrap making process, but it is part of the texture making process. So I'm going to show you real quickly how to bake a texture or bake shading into your model. Okay, so I'm going to split the screen here at the top. I don't generally like to do this because it tends to confuse people, but okay, I'm going to choose Properties. So we have, and in the Properties tab, under the camera symbol, at the very bottom we have Bake. Okay, so we already have a texture that we applied to this, which is the grid here, and we're going to bake this texture into it. Now before you do anything, we have the UV map, so we want to export this UV map. So we just export that map, so we're going to have that map to work with later. And now we want to make our bake. So over here on the right hand side we see bake. This says full render. We don't want full render, we want ambient occlusion. And then we just hit bake. And you can see it build the map here. If I take away, if I go into object mode, you can see the shading that it did automatically for your hat. And then in the 3D view, you can see how well it's shaded here. So now we want to save this map, this shading. So we want to save as image, and I'm going to save it as this bake. And I'll show you what it looks like in Photoshop. So we go into Photoshop, we can open, we want to open our UV, and we want to open our baseball cap bake. So those two we're going to open, and we're going to make our PSD file that's going to allow us to easily make our texture for this. So both of these are PNG files, so they have no background. Now to easily transfer these, I need a background. So I'm going to select this one, and I'm going to fill in this background here. So that's all filled in. Now I can select the whole thing and move it to here. Make sure it fits properly, and I'm going to drag that to the bottom layer, and I can close this. So now we just have our two layers, the UV on top and the bake one underneath, and now we can texture whatever we want on this and create a really nice texture for the hat. And of course we want to save this as a PSD. And there you go. So that's the basics of creating your UV map and texturing. So have a good one, everyone.